Every expectation that was given to Victor Wembanyama before the season started, he has lived up to and much more. I think we all assumed that Victor Wembanyama was going to be in the race for Rookie of the Year, and there was a very good chance he was going to win it. And at the 65 game mark, it is very clear that not only is Wemby going to be the Rookie of the Year, but he's doing a lot more things we did not expect. In fact, there is a legitimate possibility that Victor Wembanyama could be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. When scouts started to talk about Victor Wembanyama, they talked about a few things that have so far came true. They talked about his ability to score the basketball while driving, and so far we've seen just that, which is not too surprising. He is 7'4", he has a great ball handle, and he's very mature with this game. Of course, he has raw offensive talent that I believe he can develop, being on one of the best ran organizations in the NBA. But what impresses me the most about Victor Wembanyama is what he's done on the defensive side this year. Not only is individually Victor Wembanyama one of the best defensive players as a whole, but the team has changed as well. I've seen so many people talk about Wemby possibly winning Defensive Player of the Year, but I thought they were just trying to hype him up a little bit. So I decided to see how possible is this for Victor Wembanyama to actually win the award. Because a rookie even being in contention to win the award, this isn't usually something we see. But I think it's well known right now that Victor Wembanyama isn't your average NBA rookie. Well, if we're going off Vegas odds, it seems like the heavy favorite is Rudy Gobert, with Victor Wembanyama coming in second. And I'm not gonna lie, Vegas is usually pretty good at getting these awards right. But is this Vegas just trying to stir something up, or is there an actual justifiable reason to put Wemby this high? Well, let's look at last year's Defensive Player of the Year winner, Jaren Jackson Jr. Last season, Jaren Jackson Jr. had 65 steals and 189 blocks. And if we combine those together, he had a total of 254 stocks. Stocks are just steals and blocks combined. Now, you might be asking yourself, how good of a statistic is this? Well, to find this out, I decided to go back the past 5 years to look at players who have won Defensive Player of the Year. And Jaren Jackson Jr. had more stocks than any player since 2018, when Rudy Gobert had 253 stocks. So where does Victor Wembanyama come in this equation? Well, at the time of recording this video, with 15 games left in the year, Victor Wembanyama has 271 stocks. Again, there are 15 games left in the year, and Victor Wembanyama has already surpassed Jaren Jackson Jr. Wemby already has more stocks than any Defensive Player of the Year since 2011. In fact, I even wanted to go further than that, because Dwight Howard was the winner of Defensive Player of the Year in 2011, and he had a little under 300 stocks that year. And even the year before, he had just a little bit over 300. Well, at the rate that Wemby is going, there is a very big possibility that Wemby ends the season with over 300 stocks. So the whole reason I'm even explaining this is to show that individual stat-wise, Victor Wembanyama should win the award. And I mean this in no disrespectful way to Rudy Gobert, but Wemby, as far as an individual player, has done very well. However, I keep reusing the word individually because the unfortunate reality is that team-wise, things don't look good. The San Antonio Spurs have a defensive rating of number 23. So being a part of a team that is bottom 10 in the NBA when it comes to defensive rating is not exactly the best look. Now, to be fair, it is not Wemby's fault that they are number 23. In fact, I'm sure we could look at stats and see how they're doing with Wemby on the court and off the court. But in a hypothetical universe where the Spurs did not have Wemby, they would probably be the worst defense in the NBA. Oh wait, except last season, they were ranked number 30th in defensive rating in the NBA. But I think we all know Wemby is not to blame for the Spurs being bad on defense, not including Wemby. Regardless, they are still number 23 in the NBA. However, if we switch over to Rudy Gobert, individually, he's doing great. But as far as the team goes, the Timberwolves have been consistently the number 1 defense the entire year. And I think it's safe to assume that Rudy Gobert is one of the biggest X factors when it comes to this defense. And I know some people are going to try to talk bad about Rudy, talking about his perimeter defense to bring him down. But number one, we've actually seen that Gobert has improved on the perimeter. There are clips going around showing that Gobert is in fact a lot better than he's been before. I know my biggest criticism of Rudy Gobert used to be he can't guard the perimeter, but this year on the T-Wolves' defense, he can do just that. And obviously he's going to have his moments, you could take shit out of context, but regardless, Gobert has improved. Also, I don't know why you're trying to tear down Rudy Gobert when Victor Wembanyama himself is praising Gobert. When Wemby was asked about Rudy Gobert possibly winning Defensive Player of the Year, he said this: "I know that Rudy has a very good chance of winning it this year, and it would be deserved. Let him win it now, because after that, it's no longer his turn." If you weren't already scared of Victor Wembanyama and what he is going to do, I feel like you should be now. I know before the season started, there were a lot of people who were unsure about Wemby, but with the season not even being over and everything that Victor Wembanyama has done, this man is gonna go down in the history books. If you scroll through Twitter and just look at Victor Wembanyama, the amount of stats and random things he's done this year is very impressive. And I think there's something that a lot of people are forgetting about when they look at what Wemby has done. This man Wemby is still on a minute restriction. I know about a couple months ago I made a video about Wemby just talking about him in general, and I talked about the minute restriction. At first I said it was kind of a bad thing, but I understood why they were doing it. Because let's face it, San Antonio was not going to contend this year, and with the way they're sitting right now, there's a very good possibility to get the number 1 or number 2 pick. So everything you've seen, everything that you thought was amazing and that there's no way this can get better, this is just the beginning. We're slowly just seeing a little bit of the potential of Victor Wembanyama. So while this season he's gonna have to deal with the rookie tax, and by that I mean he wasn't gonna make the All-Star team because he's a rookie, even though that was a real possibility, and he's not gonna win Defensive Player of the Year because he's a rookie, I do think within the next couple seasons Victor Wembanyama is going to have more opportunities to do more amazing things. But I want to look past just his rookie year, because it's very obvious what is going to happen for the rest of the season. Victor Wembanyama is going to continue to do amazing things, and he's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to be in contention for Defensive Player of the Year but not win it. There's a possibility he makes an All-NBA defensive team, which I could definitely see that happening, and it's going to be obvious to everyone that he is miles ahead better than just about everyone in his class and even some centers in the league right now. I mean, is it crazy to say he could be a top 20 player in the NBA right now? But I don't even want to look at that, because something that we have to consider is that this next season is going to be very interesting for the Spurs and Wembanyama. The Spurs are not a good team. They have some good players, and by that I mean Devin Vassell and Victor Wembanyama, and everyone else I feel like is tradable. And even with that top draft pick that they have, there is still going to be some star that they could use. I know a lot of people want them to make like a Trae Young type trade, which would be very big, and I think Trae Young would be perfect for the Spurs. The unfortunate reality is we need to look at San Antonio and the past they've had. The San Antonio Spurs do not go after big free agents. In fact, most of those championship winning teams they've had, they were built, not bought. Now, I will say the era that San Antonio was most dominant was not in a superstar era, at least the way things are now, unless you want to exclude 2014 where they actually played against the Miami Heat Big Three. But even then, San Antonio, they built their team from the ground up, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do in the upcoming NBA draft. There are a lot of prospects they're looking at, but most importantly, I think they just need to focus on Wemby's development, because it is very obvious that in just his first season, we can see that Victor Wembanyama is going to be a generational talent. I mean, the things we've seen this man do, I think we expected some greatness, but not on this level. What he is doing at the young age he's at is something unprecedented, and I don't think statistics can even justify what I'm saying. But all the Spurs have to do is build a plan around Victor Wembanyama, and this team is going to dominate for the next 5, 10, maybe 15 years. Because as long as the Spurs do not ruin Wemby's career and they don't waste his time, then I think everything should go pretty well. Because this man Victor Wembanyama is doing similar things, is on a similar path to his mentors. Guys like David Robinson and Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, he's seeming to join that category. However, I think he's going to end up better than every single one of those players I just named. And it's no offense to them, but it's just a testament to how great Victor Wembanyama is going to be.